2 Kings chapter 15. In the 27th year of King Jeroboam's reign over Israel, Amaziah's son Azariah became king over Judah. He was 16 years old when he began to reign, and he reigned for 52 years in Jerusalem. His mother's name was Jecholiah, who was from Jerusalem. He did what the Lord approved, just as his father Amaziah had done, but the high places were not eliminated. The people continued to offer sacrifices and burn incense on the high places. The Lord afflicted the king with an illness. He suffered from a skin disease until the day he died. He lived in separate quarters, while his son Jotham was in charge of the palace and ruled over the people of the land. The rest of the events of Azariah's reign, including all his accomplishments, are recorded in the scroll called the Annals of the Kings of Judah. Azariah passed away and was buried with his ancestors in the city of David. His son Jotham replaced him as king. In the 38th year of King Azariah's reign over Judah, Jeroboam's son Zachariah became king over Israel. He reigned in Samaria for 6 months. He did evil in the sight of the Lord, as his ancestors had done. He did not repudiate the sinful ways of Jeroboam son of Nebat, who encouraged Israel to sin. Shallum son of Jabesh conspired against him. He assassinated him in Iblim and took his place as king. The rest of the events of Zechariah's reign are recorded in the scroll called the Annals of the Kings of Israel. His assassination brought to fulfillment the Lord's word to Jehu, 4 generations of your descendants will rule over Israel. That is exactly what happened. Shallum, son of Jabesh, became king in the 39th year of King Uzziah's reign over Judah. He reigned for 1 month in Samaria. Menahem, son of Gadi, went up from Tirzah to Samaria and attacked Shallum, son of Jabesh. He killed him and took his place as king. The rest of the events of Shallum's reign, including the conspiracy he organized, are recorded in the scroll called the Annals of the Kings of Israel. At that time, Menahem came from Tirzah and attacked Tipshah. He struck down all who lived in the city and surrounding territories because they would not surrender. He even ripped open the pregnant women. In the 39th year of King Azariah's reign over Judah, Menahem, son of Gadi, became king over Israel. He reigned for 12 years in Samaria. He did evil in the sight of the Lord. He did not repudiate the sinful ways of Jeroboam, son of Nebat, who encouraged Israel to sin during his reign. Pul, king of Assyria, invaded the land, and Menahem paid him 1,000 talents of silver to gain his support and to solidify his control of the kingdom. Menahem got this silver by taxing all the wealthy men in Israel. He took 50 shekels of silver from each one of them and paid it to the king of Syria. Then the king of Assyria left. He did not stay there in the land. The rest of the events of Menahem's reign, including all his accomplishments, are recorded in the scroll called the Annals of the Kings of Israel. Menahem passed away, and his son Pekah replaced him as king. In the 50th year of King Azariah's reign over Judah, Menahem's son Pekah became king over Israel. He reigned in Samaria for 2 years. He did evil in the sight of the Lord. He did not repudiate the sinful ways of Jeroboam, son of Nebat, who encouraged Israel to sin. His officers, Pekah, son of Remaliah, conspired against him. He and 50 Gileadites assassinated Pekah, as well as Agob and Ariel in Samaria in the fortress of the royal palace. Pekah then took his place as king. The rest of the events of Pekah's reign, including all his accomplishments, are recorded in the scroll called the Annals of the Kings of Israel. In the 52nd year of King Azariah's reign over Judah, Pekah, son of Remaliah, became king over Israel. He reigned in Samaria for 20 years. He did evil in the sight of the Lord. He did not repudiate the sinful ways of Jeroboam, son of Nebat, who encouraged Israel to sin. During Pekah's reign over Israel, King Tiglath-Pilesar of Assyria came and captured Ijon Abel-Beth Makkah, Jano Kadesh, Hazor Gilead, and Galilee, including all the territory of Naphtali. He deported the people to Assyria. Hoshea, son of Elah, conspired against Pekah, son of Remaliah. He assassinated him and took his place as king in the 20th year of the reign of Jotham, son of Uzziah. The rest of the events of Pekah's reign, including all his accomplishments, are recorded in the scroll called the Annals of the Kings of Israel. In the 2nd year of the reign of Israel's king Pekah, son of Remaliah, Uzziah's son Jotham became king over Judah. He was 25 years old when he began to reign, and he reigned for 16 years in Jerusalem. His mother was Jerusha, the daughter of Zadok. He did what the Lord approved, just as his father Uzziah had done, but the high places were not eliminated. The people continued to offer sacrifices and burnt incense on the high places. He built the upper gate to the Lord's temple. The rest of the events of Jotham's reign, including his accomplishments, are recorded in the scroll called the Annals of the Kings of Judah. In those days, the Lord prompted King Rezin of Syria and Pekah, son of Remaliah, to attack Judah. Jotham passed away and was buried with his ancestors in the city of his ancestor David. His son Ahaz replaced him as king. Chapter 16. In the 17th year of the reign of Pekah, son of Remaliah, Jotham's son Ahaz became king over Judah. Ahaz was 20 years old when he began to reign, and he reigned for 16 years in Jerusalem. He did not do what pleases the Lord his God, in contrast to his ancestor David. He followed in the footsteps of the kings of Israel. He passed his son through the fire, a horrible sin practiced by the nations whom the Lord drove out from before the Israelites. He offered sacrifices and burnt incense on the high places, on the hills, and under every green tree. At that time, King Rezin of Syria and King Pekah, son of Remaliah of Israel, attacked Jerusalem. They besieged Ahaz, but were unable to conquer him. At that time, King Rezin of Syria recovered Elat for Syria. He drove the Judahites from there. Syrians arrived in Elat and live there to this very day. Ahaz sent messengers to King Tiglath-Pilesar of Assyria, saying, "I'm your servant and your dependent. March up and rescue me from the power of the king of Syria and the king of Israel, who have attacked me." Then Ahaz took the silver and gold that were in the Lord's temple and in the treasuries of the royal palace, and sent it as tribute to the king of Assyria. The king of Assyria responded favorably to his request. He attacked Damascus and captured it. He deported the people to Kir and executed Rezin. When King Ahaz went to meet with King Tiglath-Pilesar of Assyria in Damascus, he saw the altar there. King Ahaz sent to Uriah the priest a drawing of the altar and a blueprint for its design. Uriah the priest built an altar in conformity to the plans King Ahaz had sent from Damascus. Uriah the priest finished it before King Ahaz arrived back from Damascus. When the king arrived back from Damascus and saw the altar, he approached it and offered a sacrifice on it. He offered his burnt sacrifice and his grain offering. He poured out his libation and sprinkled the blood from his peace offerings on the altar. He moved the bronze altar that stood in the Lord's presence from the front of the temple, between the altar and the Lord's temple, and put it on the north side of the new altar. King Ahaz ordered Uriah the priest, on the large altar, offer the morning burnt sacrifice, the evening grain offering, the royal burnt sacrifices, and grain offering. The burnt sacrifice for all the people of Israel, their grain offering and their libations. Sprinkle all the blood of the burnt sacrifice and other sacrifices on it. The bronze altar will be for my personal use. So Uriah the priest did exactly as King Ahaz ordered. King Ahaz took off the frames of the movable stands and removed the basins from them. He took the sea down from the bronze bowls that supported it and put it on the pavement. He also removed the Sabbath awning that had been built in the temple and the king's outer entranceway. on account of the king of Assyria. The rest of the events of Ahaz's reign, including his accomplishments, are recorded in the scroll called the Annals of the Kings of Judah. Ahaz passed away and was buried with his ancestors in the city of David. His son Hezekiah replaced him as king. We're going to stop here today. Next time we're going to be starting from 2 Kings chapter 17. I'll see you then.